County clerks are preparing for a unique election this November. One nonpartisan group is suing the state for decisions it made on mail-in voting, but many clerks say it's late to remove Indiana from a short list of states requiring an excuse to vote by mail. Brock Turner has the story.
Some Indiana county clerks and election observers are sounding alarms about a possible shortage of poll workers, though that's not expected to be the case everywhere. Indiana Secretary of State Connie Lawson, the state's top election official, is spending $1 million in CARES Act money on advertising to recruit new poll workers. It's too early to know just how many workers county clerks will need. In many Indiana counties, the local Republican and Democrat parties are responsible for getting an equal number of poll workers. Those parties are in the process of drumming up support now. While many clerks say they're confident local polling places won't be affected, some counties have already consolidated locations ahead of the general election. Those shortages can largely be attributed to the demographics of traditional poll workers.
This year has been a little more difficult because if you're an aging poll worker, you're over 65, even if you don't have an underlying condition, you're at high risk.
Barbara Tully is one of them. Tully has worked the polls in Marion County the past couple of elections and was planning to do so again this year, but then COVID struck.
I just felt uncomfortable working in a polling location, even with all the PPE that the counties are supplying to poll workers. I just thought, you know what, I'm not in the high risk group because I'm 59 and a higher risk group is a little bit older than me, but that's a long day.
But Marion County is fortunate. Although the state's most populous county has struggled to get enough poll workers in the past, that's not the case this year.
To date, we have recruited roughly 2,400 election workers, which is actually above the goal that we had. So we are really happy about that, but we are definitely not turning anyone away.
Hollis says poll workers from non-traditional areas have stepped up in Marion County. He credits broader outreach from his office as well as other organizations throughout the city.
I think one of the reasons is that folks are really energetic and enthusiastic about this election cycle. I think another reason is that people understand that the only way we can have, 187 polling locations on election day is if we are able to staff those locations. So the public understands that, and they have been willing to help us out so that we can avoid having long lines on election day.
One of those is Indiana Vote by Mail, which Tully serves as president. It's a nonpartisan group that advocates for what its name implies, the expansion of mail-in voting. She says her organization's message this year resonates differently.
Yeah, this is definitely personal because of the pandemic. Absolutely personal because of the pandemic.
Tully goes to the grocery store and occasionally on runs, but she says she's doing everything to limit her risk of coming in contact with the virus. In Indiana, it's unclear if she'll be allowed to vote by mail in November's election. State officials have been hesitant to commit on what is or isn't a valid excuse.
I've had a lot of questions on whether this qualifies someone who is afraid of getting COVID-19 at the polls. If you're confined to your home because you have a condition that puts you at high risk and you're self-isolating, you may qualify to vote absentee by mail. But if you're still going to the grocery store and running other errands, you're not confined to your home.
Governor Eric Holcomb has deferred to Lawson on election matters. Her office wants to hold as normal of an election as possible. That could explain why Indiana spent federal CARES Act dollars to secure additional PPE for in-person voting instead of giving county clerks resources to bolster mail-in voting. Nearly everyone, including Monroe County Election Supervisor Karen Wheeler, say it's too late to expand to no-excuse mail-in voting now.
Whether you're for that or against it, they have it in that process. They know how to do it, and we don't know how to do it yet.
She's overwhelmed how it is and has a hard time imagining how her office could handle an influx of ballots.
We've got to do our best, and it's like all the cards are stacked against you. So how could we do 46,000 or more? That kind of scares the bejeebies out of me because, wow. And then you only have so much time.
Linda Hansen heads the state's League of Women Voters. Her group is nonpartisan, but she believes national political pressure is causing Indiana to forego dedicating more resources to expand mail-in voting.
I see it as politicized. And certainly there are players at the national level who are encouraging that. But, you know, we have state after state who said, okay, we've got to make this safer for our voters. We've got to make it secure and accessible. And we are one of the states that makes voting most difficult.
Indiana Secretary of State Connie Lawson declined an interview for this story. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
Hoosier voters will be able to go to court this fall to ask for polls to stay open longer if there are problems on Election Day. Judge Richard Young halted an Indiana law that would have barred voters from asking a court to extend polling hours. He cited recent examples where the 2019 law would have unfairly prevented people from voting, including in Monroe County, where in 2018, some polling places ran out of ballots. But the law didn't list that as a reason a judge could extend polling hours. Young also wrote the state didn't provide any legitimate reason why the law should exist.